So the quadriceps, or the quads as most people like to call them. Now everyone knows the quads, yeah? So big group of muscles that sits on the front of your leg here. So when we talk about the quads, we're talking about 4 different muscles. So you've got rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus intermedius, and vastus medialis. Now you don't really need to worry about these names, they're kind of long and complicated. The main thing you need to understand is what these muscles do. Now in order to understand that, we need to kind of think about where they start and where they finish. So with these 4 muscles, so rectus femoris, its origin is at the hip, so it crosses the hip joint, whereas the other 3, so your 3 vastus muscles, they all originate below the hip, so on your femur, so on your leg. Then they all insert, so all 4 of the muscles insert into your quadriceps tendon, which is this little thick bit just above your kneecap, and that tendon then runs over your kneecap. Now what does this mean? So rectus femoris, because it crosses 2 joints, that means it does actions at both of those joints, so it helps to flex the hip and also extend or straighten out the knee. Whereas the other 3, the vastus muscles, they just work to extend the knee. So when you think quads, the main thing you really want to think is extending or straightening out the knee. So what does this mean for your training? So if you're trying to target the quads, we want to think knee bend. The more knee bend you get in an exercise, the more quad dominant that exercise is going to be. So take squatting for example. Most people kind of assume squatting is a very knee dominant exercise, which it is, but it depends how you squat. So if you're someone that squats in a way that your knees push forward over your toes and you get a lot of deep knee bend and your trunk doesn't collapse too far forward, it's going to be more of a quad dominant movement. Whereas if you're someone who, say, squats low bar, you're going to have less knee bend and you're going to have more bend from the hips, making the movement a lot more hip dominant as opposed to quad dominant. So if you're trying to get the quads, we want deep knee bend.